welcome back to my channel. Today is Monday, April 6th, and I thought I would come on and do a quick video. I've really been enjoying doing these, and I want to do my small part to help distract everyone from the heaviness and the craziness going on in the world, because Lord knows I have been availing myself of that distraction a lot lately from the rest of you people. So today I'm going to go over, this is not a class. I'm going to show you my dungeon whips. So that's the whips that I do intend to get back to at some point, but I really don't know when. And then also my framed finishes. So there's a few, not as many as there should be. I think in my first video I said I've been stitching for about 10 years. That's totally wrong. I've been stitching for nearly 15 years. So there should be a lot more of these framed ones, but I'm a slow stitcher, and you know, I get done what I get done, and I love what I have, and you know, so I'll just be happy with what I have rather than bemoaning what I don't. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to start with two pieces that actually are not my own. I don't know if you remember me mentioning in my first video, my paternal grandmother was just an amazing needle worker. So I have two of her embroidered pieces. And I don't really know anything about embroidery, so I don't know what stitches these are. But I really, really love these, and these are gonna go in my bedroom. Once I get Rachel Howell's framed, I am going to put these sort of next to her. I just need to know, you know, I can't really hang them yet. I don't want to put extra holes in my walls if I don't need to. I'm pretty sure that my grandfather framed both of these. You can see the fabric sticking out of the back. And this looks like some kind of electrical cord, actually. Yeah, it is. But so that's one of them, and then here's another one. They're stitched on some kind of, I don't think this is silk. It's a silk looking satin, I think. And unfortunately, I don't really know much about it. You know, I don't know if this was fabric from one of my grandmother's dresses or one of my aunt's dresses. I just don't know. But anyway, I love those. I thought I'd show those. I'm super, super happy that I have those, that they didn't end up in a Goodwill somewhere. When my dad downsized last year, I ended up with several things that were from my grandparents' home, and I'm really, really grateful to have those things. Okay. For mine, I'm going to kind of show these in chronological order, the order I stitched them in. So this is the first thing I ever stitched. And he's a little sheepy, as obviously you can see. I got the kit at Joann's, and this was my, all right, well, I'm only going to spend a tiny little bit and see if I actually like this. And then when I finished it, I went back to Joann's and I found a frame off the shelf and had them frame it. So that was a really economical way. This was kind of a standard size. You know, I was able to use a mat to make it fit into the frame. So there's that one. That was on Ada. And then I had actually forgotten about this one, and you know, it's hanging in my craft room in my mom cave, so I don't know why. Sorry about the glare there. I don't know why I forgot about it. I see it all the time. But he's a little painted bunting. Isn't he so cute? And you can see my sad, sad attempts at backstitching those two exterior borders. But again, this was just a kit, and once I finished it, I did the same thing. I went and found a ready-made frame at Joann's and had them cut a mat to so that this would fit. The only thing, I think that what I had to do, and I would have to take this apart to figure it out, so I'm not going to do that. I think I did have to sew some extra fabric around the sides so that it would be big enough to go around the, you know, the foam core under the matting. I think I had to do that. I'm not 100% certain on that. And then this is the first thing I did on linen. This is from, I believe it was called Carriage House. Needleworks Heron House Design, something like that. And it was border study in red, but obviously I did not do it in red. And wow, you can really see, look at that. You can see those threads sticking out behind it. I carried threads where I didn't need to. This is like a really deep blue. The color's not really coming in there. I'm pretty sure this is 28 count. So once I finished it, I went to Joann's and selected the frame and the matting and had them make it, and then to keep the cost down, I brought it home and I framed it myself. You can see that it is really starting. Can you see? Let's see. Ooh, there's the. Well, I don't think you can see it, but it's really starting to get loose around it. So I really need to take it apart and relace it. Or I think I pinned it when I did it. So I probably need to just lace it so that it'll be nice and tight in there again. Then I did Carriage House samplings, the Abbott family, and I did the same thing. I found this, I think I got this set on clearance on 1-2-3 Stitch, and stitched them separately on separate pieces of fabric. And then I went to Joann's and found a couple frames and had them, make the frames and cut the mat, and then I framed it myself. And these are actually holding up pretty well. They're not getting loose in there at all. And you see this little tiny piece of dirt? I've been meaning to pull that out for 10 years. Pull it back out and get rid of that little thing, and I haven't done it. I think it's probably destined to just stay there. But I love these. I love these. These are kind of favorites of mine. They're beautiful. If you can get a hold of them, I highly recommend stitching them. They were a lot of fun. Those are on 40 count linen, and they came kitted, so that's what this, I'm pretty sure it was kitted with silks. But I love them. They hang in my bedroom right outside my closet. And then this next one is actually not cross stitch, but it is needlepoint with some, I think that's called Jello Work. And I did this, and my daughter's room was girly and pink and beautiful when she was really little. And so I did this, and it hung in there over her bed. Sorry, the glare is kind of crazy here. I love that. And so I did it, and I took it and had Joann's frame it. I did not frame this. For a long time, that was where I went. Joann's, they did a great job. They have not done such a great job recently. But fortunately, Total Framing is in my neck of the woods-ish without traffic. And so I go there now. This is one called The Blessing. Let's see if I can show that. And I think it's I think this is an Exemplars from the Heart. But I took this one to Michael's and had them frame it. I love the sort of metallic sheen on this, even though it's, not super duper primitive. I just think it is so nice. I'm sorry, I'm not really getting great pictures of these, am I? The lighting in here is a little weird right now. Let's see if I can. Here we go. Yeah. But I really love this one. Then I put my initials and my daughter's initials in there, even though the little child over there is a boy. Yeah, that's all right. It works for me and my daughter. That was long before my son was even remotely a twinkle in my eye. Then these next ones, this one is Heartstrings Samplery. It is Pomegranate Birds. I love this one. I do not have glass on this. And honestly, I'm a little bit torn about whether there should be glass on it or not. But I took it to Total Framing, and I really am happy with it. It took a really long time to find a frame. I kept looking for one that was ready-made that this would fit in, and I just couldn't find one. And eventually I just said, you know what, forget it. I'm just gonna have it custom done. And then I get there, and they actually had one on their ready-made racks, shelves, pegs, whatever. They have a bunch of ready-made frames, and that one was hanging up there, and it fit perfectly, and I really, really like it. I think it really suits the piece. This next one is Blackbird Designs. It is from the book Souvenirs of Summer. And again, I had this one framed at Total Framing. I love this frame. I just love how it's like pretty on the ones on the, you know, right on the edge, but then you can definitely see that it's like supposed to be kind of rustic also. Lighting is really kind of bad in here right now, sorry. Let's see if I can get a, I don't know if you can see, there's like these seams that, you know, are made to look like a bunch of pieces of wood put together. Again, this is out of that book, Souvenirs of Summer. Maybe someday they will reprint that book. Just about everything in that book is fantastic, and if you can get a hold of it for a reasonable price, I highly recommend it. This is, I think the name of this one is Summer's Jubilee. I love this. I stitched it on a called for linen. I did have to change a whole bunch of threads. I restitched this thing like 8 million times. I swear, I probably restitched this thing. I literally think it was 5 times. And then I finally was like, all right, I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm taking this to Total Framing immediately so that I can't change my mind again. But I'm happy with the way it turned out. And then this one is GGR Fair Lady Sampler. I really, really love this. And again, this one is, I took this to Total Framing and had them frame it. And they did a fantastic job. This is one, I initially took it to Joann's, and I found a frame that I absolutely loved, but they did a really, really terrible job. I think what it comes down to is just, you know, it's not the store, it's the individual framer that they have working there, and if they have experience with needlework or not. But I love that girl. I did change the color on her dress because on the cover photo, like I've said before, I get pretty hung up on things looking like the cover photo. Her dress definitely looks purple, but when you pull it, it is definitely a brown. I didn't like it at all, so I changed it. And then this basket of flowers, let me see, make sure I can get it. Ha! I'm trying to see here. Can you see that? Oh, it's so beautiful. I love it. I mean, it's really, that's a really big section of stitching. And then there's these rice stitches are also so gorgeous. And they were actually pretty fun to do. I was intimidated to try to do them at first, but this was a really, really fun project. I really enjoyed it. It was my first GGR, and it very definitely will not be my last. Okay, and that is it. I told you, not very many framed pieces. But you know, that's okay. I enjoy the process. I enjoy the stitching, and I'm not a very fast stitcher. When I get stressed out, I'm not a stitcher who stitches to relieve my stress. I can't focus when I'm really stressed. So I haven't honestly been stitching very much lately. I've been watching a lot of Flosstube videos, and just sort of doing what I have to do to, you know, keep my children fed and clothed and mostly happy. Nobody's really, really happy right now, right? I mean, that's just, it is what it is. All right, so now we're gonna move on to my dungeon whips. So I mentioned before that I keep my whips in 2 different places. The things that I keep upstairs next to my stitching spot are the things that I'm, you know, intend to focus on and work on in the immediate future. And then I have a basket in my mom cave that holds things that I intend to get back to someday, but I don't know when that day will be. So, all right. So first is, actually, you know what? I wanted to show you something that my husband got for me on one of his business trips to Australia. This is a kit. I just love this house. Let's see if I can get it closer so you can see. The details are so nice. And then he got me a piece of, picture this plus Lugana icon. Let's see if I can take it out of this bag. It's a 32 count. And pretty cool. And I think that the house will look really, really, really pretty on this. It's a really nice pale blue. Man, not getting these colors very well right now. There we go. That's a little better. But I don't know. Sorry, guys. I'm trying. Oh, yeah, that's pretty close. It's a little bit warmer blue than that, though. So, I keep saying, oh, I'm going to start that one next. I'm going to start that one next. It came with Ada, but I'm not going to stitch it on the Ada. It was just, you know, like a plain white Ada. I think it'll look really nice on this Lugana. And actually, I've never stitched on Lugana before, so I'm looking forward to trying it out. So that is that. My husband, he's so good to me. You know, whenever he is on travel, which he doesn't travel as much anymore as he used to. He has a different job now, but he really does, man. He goes out of his way to find an LNS wherever he is and see if there's anything I want. If he sees a Hobby Lobby near where he is, he will, you know, send me a text, be like, hey, is there anything you need at Hobby Lobby? He's a keeper. Oh, this one he got this. I'm not sure. He got this when he was in Australia. I'm not sure if he got this at the Cool Goblin or not. Is it Goblin or Goblin? I don't know. I like to say Goblin, but I'm not sure if that's actually what it is. And then he actually, you know what? He got me the Fair Lady sampler chart there as well. He might have even gotten the threads there. I'm not sure. That's terrible. I should remember that. It wasn't that long ago. Anyway. Okay, next is, oh, this is actually just kitted up. I'm not going to show it. It's a Birds of Feather Lost Spirits. I am going to stitch this on a piece of gingerbread. And pretty much it's called 4 threads. Love that. I so wish that Birds of Feather was still in business and doing charts, because I love, I'm not sure there's anything that I've seen of theirs that I don't love and wish I could get my hands on. So most of it is out of print now. I started collecting it as soon as I realized that they weren't in business anymore. So I've got quite a few of their Halloween things, a few of their Christmas things, and then the you know, the seasonal girls. There's winter, spring, summer, fall, all 4 seasons. I saw them. There used to be an LNS near where I live in Frederick, Maryland, and you would go up the stairs and she had models of all 4 of those girls, and they were huge and they were beautiful, and I bought the charts on the spot and I just haven't started them. Honestly, it's going to be kind of quite a large investment in fiber and fabric, because I want to do them all on the same fabric, and they're all pretty big, so they'll all need, I think they each will need a half yard of fabric. So it's going to be a couple $100 worth of fabric, as you know, just for the fabric, let alone framing and yada yada. You all know how it goes. Okay, next is Kathy Barrick, London Zoo. I love this one. You know, my son is really, honestly, I'm not sure how much he would enjoy this at this point. You know, it's one of those that I started fully intending to finish it and put it up in his room when he was still a baby, and I should really know better by now that I don't stitch that fast. But I like it enough that I will probably, you know, find a place to hang it myself. I got that top border is done, and kind of that first quarter of a corner, you know, quarter of it. I don't know. This is, I'm pretty sure this is, it definitely is 40 count. I'm pretty sure this is Lakeside Linens, Vintage Pearled Barley. Here's all the threads. I'm just doing it with the DMC. But I really enjoy this one. I really like the ones that are, you know, single motifs. I don't know, the little motifs feel like a finish every time you finish just a little motif. I really like it. Oh, this is the first bag I made myself. It's not my favorite fabric. This is just some fabrics that somebody gave to me at some point, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna burn some fabric I don't care too much about. If I ruin it, I won't be too sad for my first bag. And then this is what that Birds of a Feather one is in. This one is another one I made myself. It's got this sort of crackled brown paint look going there. Yeah, there you go. Now you can see it. But I really love this one too. Okay, moving right along. This one is in a Pretty Southern bag. You know, if you haven't bought one yet, I don't know why not. They are exquisite. I mean, the craftsmanship in her bags is just amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okay, this is a Barbara Anna Designs. It is called Christmas Joy. And I looked past this chart a lot of times and was like, oh, that's really cute, but it wasn't really ever anything special. And then I went to my LNS near Baltimore, the stitching post, and somebody, their shop model, is on this, I think it's called River Willow. It's a Lakeside Linens green, and it's this beautiful green. And I was like, oh my gosh, I had actually gotten all the things that I was there for, and then I got up to the counter to pay, and I saw it on this green, and I was like, oh, that is perfect. I love that. And so then I was in love with it. And so fortunately for me, they had a piece of the linen in stock. Man, I don't know what is up with there we go. That's pretty true to the color. That's pretty true to the green that it is. I just really love it. I mean, it is so cute. And, you know, that little snowman is adorable. That reindeer, how cute is he? I love that tiny little house and the itty bitty little snow bunny. Love this. So I hope to get back to that soon. I'm pretty sure this is also 40 count. And I'm stitching it with the called for DMC. Okay. This is a DMC kit. Lately I've really kind of been like, oh, I love some of these DMC kits. I really am loving. This one is just one of their little petites, and I barely have a start on it. I am going to use the Ada that came with it. So this is the start I have. It's just that, like that top corner, few rows. And when I am stitching in a kit, I'm not going to use my Annie's Keepers for these kit threads. I got the idea for these tags from Felicity Stitches, Jen. And so I bought a bunch of these packages of these labels, or tags, sorry. And I just write down the code that's included in the kit. And that way, you know, I can still pull them off one by one as I'm ready for them. But I'm not wasting my expensive Annies on them. Okay. And then this one is, I don't have a color photo of this one, but it is Starry Witch by Dames of the Needle. And I am stitching this on a scrap of fabric that I dyed myself with DMC 3371. I really love this. It's a little bit intense, and honestly, it would be a lot easier if I were using a bigger piece of fabric. This is a really small piece of fabric. Well, you know, top to bottom it is, which makes it tough to stay on my Q-snap. And I really don't want to use a hoop on it. But you know, every so often when I feel like stitching Halloween, I take that out, and it'll get done someday. Next up is Plum Street Samplers Stranded Jacks. I'm gonna stitch these individually, and you know, make them into little tiny ornaments and put them on my Halloween tree. I have the first one done, the Little Mermaid. I love her. Those little pumpkins under her are so cute. It's like a pumpkin coral bed, I guess you would call it. This is, to be honest, I'm not sure. I feel like this is pecan butter. It's Lakeside Linen's pecan butter. And then I've gotten a start on the little ship that has the pumpkin head guy in it. That's pretty close, yeah. That's really cute. They go pretty quickly. They're pretty tiny, so. And then next, this one is, she's a BAP. She is a big ass project. This is Elizabeth J.M. Mears, and so I mentioned that I don't do well with stress stitching. That's just not really. It's difficult for me to focus, and even just to get started, I'll even sit down and be like, oh yeah, you know what, let me relax and stitch, and then that's just not what happens. I sit and I just veg, I guess. I don't know. So when I started this, I was going through a really hard time in my life, and I put it down, and so it was 2011 I put it down, and I have not picked it back up, and I keep debating whether I ever will pick it back up or not. But I have this huge piece of linen invested in it, and this is all I have done, is these top, I don't know, what is that, 7 or 8 rows of stitching? Let's see if this will fit. There we go. I mean, this is a really big piece of fabric. I have all the silks for it. I mean, God, look at these colors. Ugh. Look at this. I mean, it's beautiful, right? It's gorgeous. I really should do it. And I really do love the chart. I really am struggling to pull it back out and actually work on it. And I really don't know why, because I really don't associate things generally that way. Like, I have things that I had during that time, you know, and I don't feel any resentment about it, or I don't know. I don't know. I'm torn. I will either stitch it again, you know, stitch on it again and try to get it done, or I'll rip out what's on the fabric and use the fabric and the silks for something else. But I haven't been able to come to a decision. Every time I think, you know what, just forget it. I'm just done with it. I can't even think about it anymore. I feel guilty that I haven't worked on it in so long, and that investment in fabric and threads is just sitting there useless. And then, so I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna rip it all out and I'll start it, you know, use it for something else. And then I'm like, oh, but I love that so much. So I don't know. I don't know. Okay, on to happier things. Next up, this is Bluebeards Princess by Mirabilia. Now, I will say that I love Mirabilias. I do, I really do. They're so pretty, and they really speak to my inner, you know, young girl, mermaid loving, fairy loving, you know. Not that I don't, you know, I read stories about fairies and stuff like that, but you know. But most of them, I probably would just never stitch, because I'm not going to hang it up on my walls. And, you know, it just really isn't the style of my home. But some of them, like this one, I love so much that I overcome the fact that I will never actually put them on my walls, and that I've never stitched with beads. I'm pretty sure this is the first time I ever used Krynic also. So I'm not stitching it on this green Witchell. I saw it somewhere else. This is Picture This Plus Gothic. It's this really gorgeous deep blue, and it's not showing up really well right now. I'm losing the light, but there's some really stunning purples that show up in here. Let's see if I can, yeah, that is a very true picture. And she looks just gorgeous on this fabric. I saw somebody else had finished it on this, and that was definitely the deciding factor. And I've got a good bit done. Her face, I'm not even going to attempt to do her face over one. And I did actually have to change the color of her face because the called for, she looked like she was like a zombie mermaid, actually, not even, you know, just a mermaid from the deep. She looked legit scary. But look at that, it's so pretty. I really love the colors, and I really do intend to get back to this one. I just don't know when. You know, there's other things that are taking, you know, way more important to me to have them done. Oops, sorry about that. Her face keeps getting washed out. I want to get her. Anyway, but I I stitched her face and neck like 4 times before I finally got it right. First I miscounted on her neck, then I miscounted on her chin, you know, her jawline. And so that's part of why I put her away, and she just hasn't come back out. But I do love her. I do want to get her done. I'll probably just hang her up on the wall in my mom cave. Gosh, she's just so pretty. Look at those colors. So pretty. Okay. Did I show you the colors? Yes. So these are, it's actually 2 rings of colors here. They're just beautiful. And then there's, of course, the beads and stuff, too. I actually think that's it. Let me check. Oh, no, there's one more. One more. Okay. I'm running out of space here. This is a little kit that I found at, at Michael's years ago. I just thought it was so funny. It just really tickled me, and so I decided I would go ahead and, you know, again, this is another one that really doesn't fit my style, but I just thought it was so cute and hilarious. Look at this little, this little mouse is gonna wake his poor napping buddy up by popping a balloon in his head, in his face. It's so cute. And I'm not stitching this with the, on the Ada that was included in the kit. I'm stitching this on a white, man, it says wrinkled, on white linen. I'm trying to get this folded up here so you can see it. But so that's all I have done. It's pretty small, and there's not really all that much left to do if I would just do it. And I'll eventually get it done and put it up in my guest room or something like that. I just think it's funny. It just tickled me, tickled my funny bone. Oh, you know what? Let me pause. I will actually show you what I am working on right now. Just a moment. Okay, actually, that didn't work. So I'm just going to end it right here. Okay, I tricked you. I'm back. I actually forgot 2 of my whips, my dungeon whips. One of them is the work basket, A Stitch in Time. I love this so much. My LNS had this up on the wall, and I fell in love with it. The colors are just so beautiful. This is Lakeside Linen's Nutmeg, and I looked and looked and looked around for something else that was comparable. Oh man, I'm really losing the light here. I'm sorry. So sorry. I'm trying to get these colors to show, and they're just not. Anyway, I looked around and looked around for a piece of fabric that I felt would be, you know, similar enough that it would be acceptable to use instead of this, and I just wasn't happy with any of it. So I had my LNS special order this from Lakeside, and you know, it took 18 months. It was literally 18 months before they got it. I just have that tiny little start. And when the owner called me to tell me that it was in stock, that they had it, I had actually forgotten that I ordered it. I was like, what are you talking? Oh, it was like, woo, happy birthday to me. Okay, so that's the one. And then the other one is Alena Lawson. Alena Lawson Needle Arts, Trick or Treat. And this guy is just fantastic. I saw him, I can't remember, I feel like I saw him in a Facebook group that I'm in, and oh my goodness, on this fabric that I found, you know, I totally copy people. Look at this. Look at how great he looks on that. Those colors are just amazing. This is actually pretty intense stitching. There's quite a bit of confetti in here. And so Makes it hard to want to really stitch on it a ton, to be honest with you. But I will get back to it because I really love it. I mean, he's pretty awesome. And I actually, although I'm not sure how soon I'll get back to it because I had to steal a whole lot of his threads when I was kitting stuff up a couple weeks ago. But that's what's left that goes in here. He's pretty great. I really love him, and I hope to get back to him, you know, sometime. All right, for real this time, that's it. Thanks for watching. You can come and find me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is My Life's a Stitch, just like my YouTube channel. I do want to mention I keep my Instagram feed private. I do post pictures of my kids every so often, not a ton, but some. And when it was public, I had some really creepy, weird people try to follow me and comment on a picture of my daughter, and so I locked it down then, and I will never open it back up. So if you request to follow me and I decline, it's not because of you in particular. If I can't see your feed and see that you do cross stitch, or if your profile name doesn't mention stitching, or I can't see that other people follow you who are stitchers, I'm sorry, but I'm just not gonna accept your request to follow. But feel free to send me a message and say, hey, my name is so-and-so, and I actually do stitch. I saw you on YouTube, and I'd like to follow you. And then I will, and then I'll accept your request. But anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. Have a good one. Bye-bye.